Namaste. Welcome to the Shaman and the Mermaid. I'm Michael.
I'm Katrina.
We're here to talk about the astrology for the next 2 weeks. And it's starting on October 27th, which is Sunday, at 9:38 p.m. We have a new moon in Scorpio, a new cycle. This is a significant one because it's with the sun. Sun is in Scorpio. And we also have 2 other planets there, Venus and Mercury. So that's influencing it. And Katrina will introduce our theme, our mantra here in a moment. But just to set it up, along with the new moon, the sun and the moon are opposite of the planet Uranus in the sky. Uranus is the liberator. And then Mars is going to be squaring Saturn that same day. Mars is your willpower and what you desire, and Saturn is rules, laws, karma, and structure. So what would that all mean for our theme?
Well, just to jump in and say it, what we've come up with at this time is evolve or dissolve. And there's a few reasons why we've put it in that terminology, because that sounds kind of intense, like, isn't that what we want to do anyway? And we don't want to dissolve like the Wicked Witch on Wizard of Oz. We don't want to, I'm melting. We want to evolve. We want to be the highest version of ourselves. And this particular time period in our existence of cosmology is saying evolve or dissolve. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But the big word around this is Scorpio. Really, it's Scorpio. We're in Scorpio season, and we're going to be there for a little while because one of the other aspects that is happening at this time is Mercury is going to go retrograde on Halloween. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we might be caught up in all of the lore of the holiday, getting ready for our costumes, getting preparations around, people party around Halloween and this time of year. Even though it falls on a Tuesday, there's still plenty of party time. So Mercury retrograde is going to sneak up on us because we won't be thinking about it. Usually we have a little Mercury's going retrograde, but we won't be thinking about it unless you're watching this report, and you'll be so ready. But then that means like all of our communication, all of our mental kind of energy is going to take like a timeout or a slow track backwards to review, rewind, rethink, redo some energy. And it's going to be doing this in Scorpio for almost like 9 weeks, I think it is in total. So we're going to have a whole lot of Scorpio energy for the next few reports in astrology because of Mercury. But right now, the energy focus is on that new moon and sun in Scorpio on the 27th, coming together and saying evolve or dissolve, right out of the chute. That's kind of the mantra to start that month of energy with the moon taking its cycle.
Part of Scorpio energy is it's things that are unseen. Scorpio's the roots. It's the death cycle when something dies and goes in the earth. It's not the end of things, at least in astrology. Scorpio is the 8th sign of 12. The last sign is Pisces. So Scorpio is not the end of something, but it is the death of something as it dissolves, merges, transforms into something else. And so when we have all this Scorpio energy, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus there, we're being asked to go into the world of things unseen or into our shadow, or another word of saying it, things we fear, things we're afraid of from the past, memories. And it's like all the mythologies of the Greeks and of Joseph Campbell. It's the hero or heroine having to go face something into the underworld. Persephone. And the metaphor is you're facing part of your shadow, something that you want to confront, understand, acknowledge it's there, speak about it, and then you want to dissolve it, go through the process of transformation. And it can be challenging. That's what Scorpio is. Another archetype related to Scorpio is the phoenix. So Scorpio is the scorpion on one side, and then the evolution of Scorpio is to dissolve, come into the ashes, you have to burn up, and then the phoenix comes up and out and rises. What would you like to say on that? Or?
Well, it's, even though this is kind of a scary time, I mean Halloween, and we've got our ghosts and goblins, which are metaphorical to us going into our own personal underworld or our own personal shadow place and digging up some of these things that we need to be honest and truthful with and help to break them down or dissolve them. It's also, to me, a very exciting time because of that Phoenix rising piece. Because if you're willing and able in the sense of mental fortitude, because I think a lot of the weakness that comes around dealing with shadow is around our fears that live in our head. So if we can allow for our mental fortitude to kick in at this time, which is great because Mercury's going retrograde, it's not going to have so much time to like think us into fear. It's going to be like in the slow rewind, let things happen, because Mercury is the mind. Mercury is the thinking. Mercury is the processing of all the thoughts. So if we can retard that a little bit, which Mercury is going to do in retrograde, then we have a chance to really get honest and truthful with ourselves and crumble some of these shadow energies or fear energies that we all have. We all have them. As much as we like to think like, no, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm fine. I am fine.
How are you?
I'm fine. There's really always stuff to be purging, dissolving, moving through. So here we are. We're in Scorpio season. Put the stinger on it and let things get kind of poisoned, if you will, so that they can come into that, like when you get a snake bite or any kind of poisonous venom in you, it numbs you. It makes it so that you can't feel that part of you which was moving easily before. And so this is letting you like take a literal time out or non-movement to let it heal or take a deeper look. It's kind of like when you get anesthesia, when you go into surgery, you have to numb this body in order to go in and cut through it. Well, sometimes that sting or that shot or that whatever is coming to you for that numbing is really so that you can go in and cut out the darkness or cut out that tumor or cut out that cancerous piece or cut out that poison inside of us. So let the sting come, as hard as that is, but this is that time. It's like some moons offer like a whole lot of abundance and prosperity, but sometimes the moon is saying, okay, now you got to dig in and you got to do some of the hard work and have that surgery, and we're here, we're doing it.
This is getting you ready for the rebirth cycle, but you got to clear out the gunk first before you're reborn. We're talking in the inner worlds here. Along with this new moon, we have that Uranus opposition.
Which is a big deal. Uranus
is the planet that wants to explore our desire to liberate and to evolve into a higher consciousness. And if we make Uranus impersonal, Uranus doesn't care how that happens. It wants it to happen no matter what. And so Uranus's way of doing things is either like a revelatory wake up, like, aha, really cool. You meet someone new, they blow your mind in a really great way, or you read a book, or you come across something that you're out in nature and you just have this realization and it's like, wow, light bulbs go off. The other one is if we're trying to ignore that path or we're really not in that space, it's like a lightning bolt coming down and striking you, and it's big.
It's a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call. So Uranus opposite of this new moon in Scorpio, while we're trying to explore that shadow energy and heal it with the stinger, is there's the potential for things to expect the unexpected, as they would say.
Yeah. Uranus is the random firebolt coming at you out of nowhere. You didn't see it coming, and we're in Uranus season for a while. This is not just like for 2-3 days. This opposition to Scorpio. Uranus is in Taurus, and it's just blasting at Scorpio. And as I said, we're going to be in Scorpio season for about 9 weeks between all the different planets there, with Mercury, Venus, the sun, the moon. Currently, the moon will travel quickly out of there, but these energies are going to be there with this potential random, hey, what about this? Have you thought of this? What about this? And sometimes these lightning bolts like blast you into, like you said, revelation or epiphanies or awakenings. And sometimes these lightning bolts hit like a shot in the gut, and you're like, whoa. I guess I pointed to my butt when I said gut, but same thing. It's like, whew, take you down. You didn't even prepare for that. And when you drop to the ground, you have to go to your inner strength to pull yourself back up. And that's what it's trying to do. Evolve or dissolve. That's why we chose that theme for this time. Like, do it or don't. But if you don't, it's going to do it for you anyway. It's watching our garden dissolve out there now in the outside world as winter's coming upon us. And I'm looking at all those beautiful plants that were so green and vibrant and full of life just a couple months ago, and they're withered and they're dying and they're decaying and they're dissolving back into the earth. That's the same energy right now. This is the death season. Scorpio is death. Scorpio is transformation. Scorpio is merging. It's asking you to make something of all of this, including let it be compost, let it be fertile soil for a new beginning down the road, if that's what it takes. Sometimes we're like, no, I don't want to dissolve. I don't want to let this go. I don't want to release this person or this job or this ideology that I have. But you have no choice. That lightning bolt comes in and says, you have to. It's for your highest good. It's for your evolution of your soul. And we fight it. Our ego fights it because we want it. We're attached to it. But if you feel like something is being pulled away from you, like the fruit off the vine, let it go. This is let it go time. And in that dissolution of that person or idea or concept, something new grows out of it. Just trust that this is becoming fertile soil, as I said.
Well, to carry on with that Scorpio energy, we're going to cover 2 more major things. One of them is Mercury retrograde, which is on the day of Halloween or Hallowmas or Sahim. Also, we're going to talk about seasonal astrology, things that happen every year at a regular cycle. And Halloween, All Saints Day, All Souls Day, which is November 1st and 2nd, and then Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the Dead. That 3-day swath there is the midpoint between fall and winter.
Exact time.
That's why those energies, holidays, celebrations are there. Many different cultures have picked up on this midpoint, and they all share a similar theme around connecting into the ancestors and those in the spirit world.
Diwali too. Diwali in the Hindu tradition celebrates
on the new moon.
On the new moon, on the 27th. So in that swath of time that we're talking about, celebrates the light overcoming the shadow or the darkness. So you can begin on this new moon with a little ceremony of setting intention to let go of that which doesn't serve you, that is feeling like the binds of your existence. And sometimes you don't always have awareness of that. Sometimes you don't have the vision to see what binds. I don't have anything holding me back. But you find yourself in conflict with your family. You find yourself in conflict with people at work. You find yourself alone or anxious or worried all the time. You find yourself a bit of a cynic or a pessimist or skeptical of things. This is, all of those are not your natural birthright. Your natural birthright, the way you were meant to be in this walking planet for the most part, not every day, all the time. That would be guru status or the ascended masters like Jesus or Buddha. But for the most part, in our everyday existence, we're meant to be peaceful, happy, ecstatic, contented, joyful. It's our bliss body, or Anandamaya Kosha, the innermost realm of our being that wraps around our soul. So if we're not in this joyful place of being, for the most part, the lion's share of our days, then we really should take this time to look in at our heart and see what needs to dissolve and fall away and what can be pulled up and evolved into our greatest self. That's what this death time is about, the death of something no longer serving us and the rise and the new beginning of something that is serving us.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that to look at this time of year is connection to your ancestral lineage. Mm-hmm. This is grandparents, grandmothers, great-grandfathers, maybe your own parents have passed and they're in the spirit realm. This includes friends, anybody, animals as well, that are in the spirit world. This is when they are able to communicate with us more clearly. At least that's the wisdom this time of year. It doesn't mean that you can't communicate through the spirit, through prayer, through meditation any time of the year. But now that death veil, the separation between what is seen and unseen, that Scorpio energy is present because we're in Scorpio time. So at our yoga studio, we have an altar out to celebrate our ancestors. Pictures of Katrina's family, my family, loved ones are on there. We honor them with candles. A friend of ours brought back Day of the Dead bread from Mexico and one of those amaranth sugar skulls on the altar. Sometimes we'll sage and put incense out and other things that were favorites of our ancestors and friends. And it's an invocation to first honor them because they were once in a body, they once walked this earth, they once knew pain, they once knew joy, and they carry with them, once they pass into the spirit world, the wisdom of how to help you on your earth walk, if you choose. So a thing to do this time of year in your own way, if it's special, is to find a way to connect to the ancestors.
Put a little picture of them out, light a little candle by it, put some of their favorite offerings that they liked right by their picture, and it's kind of creating a little portal for them to come through and give you their wisdom from the other side. And they will help guide you at this time and helping you to dissolve so that you can evolve into your highest self.
Mm-hmm. And on that day of Halloween, it's October 31st, Mercury goes retrograde. Mm-hmm. We're currently in the shadow. The shadow started way back at the beginning of October, maybe around October 11th. And now from October 31st till November 20th, Mercury is going to go backwards in the sign of Scorpio. And as Katrina said, it's all about the mind. And so the mind is being asked to take a reprise. The mind's being asked to go on retreat while you go into the soul realms.
Mm-hmm. Go in deeper to your heart place or your soul place and less analytical, judgmental, critical, because we can do that. We can put all of our hedges or bets based on the pragmatic or logical thinking that we're so capable of. But what do you know intuitively? What do you know on a deeper level, on that gut instinct that's coming from a deeper place than just what you've learned in the books? And this particular time is asking you to go into that realm. And that makes me think of, let's go to Mars, because sometimes it's not always easy to trust yourself, trust your heart, listen to your heart. What is my soul speaking to me? What is my heart saying to me? I don't know the difference between these two. And concurrently with all this cosmology or universe weather that's happening at this time, there's a big one that's going on, and it's your Mars energy, which is a lot of ego. It's a lot of how you show up on the incarnate person human flesh, bones, power surging, and it's fighting with your karma. And when I say fighting, meaning it's coming to a square. So that's oftentimes considered a challenge or a little bit of difficulty or some kind of a fight. And it's Saturn represents your karma or your deep knowing of what is right and judicial for your whole soul purpose. So your little ego self is coming up this way, and your karmic knowings and soul energy is coming this way, and they're saying, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So that evolve or dissolve theme that we're speaking of is greatly influenced by this Mars-Saturn square that is happening at this time too.
All right. Well, those are the major things. Did you want to touch on anything else?
There's a lot. On election day is the exact of that Mars-Pluto square, and election day here is Tuesday, May 5th.
November.
What did I say May for? Sorry, November 5th. And I'm just going to use that opportunity here to put a plug in for please vote. Mm-hmm. And vote to help us evolve, not dissolve, if you know what I mean.
All right. Get out there and vote for the soul. Go for it. All right. Evolve or dissolve. The full moon's coming at you at mid-November, November 12th. We'll have the full moon in Taurus. We'll come back with a report. Thanks for tuning in, and let's announce a few things that are happening here in Denver.
Speaking of ancestral karmas, we have a workshop on Sunday, the new moon, which is also Diwali, from 3 to 5 at Karma Yoga Center. It's only $20. Drop in and we'll look at what is the ancestral patterns that have come into your existence and how can you work with them to help dissolve the negatives or evolve the positives. We'll show you how to look at that in your chart. That's on the 27th, Sunday from 3 to 5.
And then our next retreat is the Spirit of Life retreat to Manitou Springs at Some Water Spas on Mountain Center. It will have astrology and the Native American medicine wheel. It's right there at those beautiful springs that our friend Kat Tudor created at her retreat center. Check it out. And then we'll put a little plug. It's not quite on the website up yet, but Sunrise Springs in Santa Fe.
Oh my gosh, you guys, keep it on radar. This
Spring
place is
equinox
amazing.
weekend, March
20th through the 22nd.
20th to 22nd. That'll be up soon, but mark that on your calendars.
All right. Have a beautiful Scorpio new moon and sun in Scorpio as well. It's a blessed time to change some things. Namaste.